Today we'll be looking at the area of parallelograms and triangles. So in the picture here you can see a parallelogram, which of course has a base and a height. And let's explore what happens if we take this piece of the parallelogram and drag it over here. What shape have I made does it look like? Well, it looks like it's a rectangle, and we knew that the formula for a rectangle was base times height. So the formula for a parallelogram is also going to be base times height, where the base is one of the parallel sides and the height is the perpendicular distance between that side. Notice the height is not what goes along the diagonal, but it is this distance right here, where it makes a 90-degree angle with the base. We could flip it and turn it sideways, so where the height runs this way as long as it's touching the base at a 90-degree angle. All right, so let's find the area and perimeter of the parallelogram. So for the perimeter, I need to know all the sides. Well, I'm missing this side here, but you do notice a right triangle, hopefully. And using the Pythagorean theorem and noticing it's a 3, 4, 5, I know that's 5 centimeters. So this whole side down here is going to be 8, and this side is going to be 5. So 8 plus 8 plus 5 plus 5 is 26 centimeters. Now the area is base times height, and the base is 8. So area equals 8 times 4, which is 32 centimeters squared. All right, so if you think of your formula, area equals base times height, your base here is going to be 13 over 2 times your height, which is the perpendicular 90-degree distance between, so 5 over 3. Now to multiply fractions, you do top times top, bottom times bottom. So 13 times 5 is 65. 2 times 3 is 6, and that does not reduce, so the area is 65 over 6. Okay, try to pause the video and see if you can figure out what your missing height is here for this parallelogram. All right, let's see how you did. If you notice, you have a 30, 60, 90 triangle here, and you're given the 90 side. So to go to my 30 side, I divide by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now to find my perimeter, I'm going to do 10 plus 10 plus 4 plus 4, so 28. And for my area, it's going to be base times height, so 10 times 2 is 20. All right, so here we have a dilemma. Fred the farmer wanted to estimate how much corn he would produce in the next month. On average, he'll produce 3 pounds of corn per square foot of land. He was very puzzled, however, because he noticed his corn crops were not planted in a rectangular shape. Someone planted the seeds crooked. Fortunately, it was in the shape of a parallelogram. How can he find the area now? Well, the formula, of course, is base times height. How many pounds of corn can he estimate he'll have? Well, we need to find what the square footage is first off. So 3,000 times 4,000. So you get 12 and then 6 zeros, which is 12 million square feet. That's how many square feet of land he has in his farm. Now, it's 3 pounds of corn per square foot, so times 3 gives you 36 million pounds of corn that he'll be able to produce. It's quite a bit of corn, but corn is used in a lot of things, so it's not as much as it might sound like it is. All right, so now that we've looked at area of a parallelogram, let's look at an area of a triangle. The area of a triangle is represented by the base times the height, which is also a 90-degree distance, also called the altitude, divided by 2. It's half the area of a parallelogram, basically. So let's find the area. So if you remember, your formula is base times height over 2. So the base is 10 times the height, which is 6, over 2. So area equals 60 over 2, which is 30 centimeters squared. All right, I want you to pause and try to see if you can figure out your missing side, the perimeter, and the area. All right, so using the Pythagorean theorem, we call this x. It's going to be x squared plus 8 squared equals 10 squared. X squared plus 64 equals 100. Subtract your 64 from both sides, so x squared equals 36. Square root it, so x equals 6. Now you add up all the sides, and you get 24 meters for the perimeter. Now the area is base times height over 2. The base is 8, and the height's the 90-degree distance to the base, so it's got to be 6, not 10, because 10 does not make a 90-degree angle. Divide by 2 gives me 24 meters squared. So for a right triangle, you're always going to use the legs as the base and the height. All right, now we have a question that does not have a height drawn in. We want to find the area of the triangle to the nearest tenth of a foot. Or, let's actually leave it in simplest radical form, which is with the square root. So we need to draw a height in ourselves. And since it's an equilateral triangle, all the angles are going to be 60. And we'll split this one in half. So we actually have a 30, 60, 90, where we're given the 90 is 6. So if you think about your 30, 60, 90 patterns that we learned before, x root 3, and 2x, the 90 is 6. Now to go to the 30, you divide by 2, which makes this piece 3. And 60 is going to be 3 square root of 3. So the area equals base times height over 2. So the base is 6 times the height, which is 3 root 3, over 2 equals 18 root 3 over 2, which is the same thing as 9 square root 3 feet squared. So that's an easy way to find the area of a triangle is to drop the altitude, use the 30, 60, 90, and then plug in. If the area of a triangle is 19.35 inches squared and the length of the base is 8.6 inches, find the height of the triangle. So let's start whenever we have a word problem by writing the formula. And let's plug in what we know. The area, so instead of A, I'm going to write 19.35 equals, base it says is 8.6, and we don't know the height. So to get rid of a 2 at the bottom, you just multiply the other side by 2. 38.7 equals 8.6h. Now, of course, you just divide both sides by 8.6 to get h by itself. 38.7 divided by 8.6 tells me what the height is 4.5 inches. So whenever you have a word problem, start by writing the formula and then plugging in the numbers for each letter. All right, let's see here. Let's do one more. What is the area of the shaded triangle inscribed in the square? Well, if it's a square, that means all the sides are going to be the same. So that'll also be half x right there. So that means that the height is going to be 1/2 x. So to find the area, we're going to do 1/2 x times 1/2 x divided by 2. Well, we multiply our fraction, so 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, and x times x is x squared divided by 2. So 1 over 4 x squared divided by 2. So we're going to cut this in half again. Gives me 1 over 8 x squared. So C. All right, please make sure you do your homework, which is the worksheet, so you can get your practice. And thank you for watching.